Hello, everyone. This is Duke Korey. I'm joined by
Bryan Land.
Brian Land, and we're just a couple of longtime friends and fans of the movie Meatballs. And uh, what we've decided to do we used to have a kind of unofficial tradition like Memorial Day weekend when school is winding down, or the first weekend after school lets out, the beginning of the summer, we'd kick it off by watching Meatballs together. And now
That's a true story. It's a true story.
Brian's in New York, I'm in Georgia, and I said, why don't we do this over Zoom? And I said, well, why don't we record it and we can have alternative commentary and people may listen to it. If they do, great. If they don't, they don't. And regardless, I think Brian and I will have fun for the next hour and a half. So we are watching it via HBOmax, but I realize others may not. So the version of HBOmax has a Lionsgate logo, which was not originally on there. So Brian and I have queued up past the Lionsgate logo. We paused it right at the very beginning of the original old school Paramount logo from the 1979 version of the movie. Um, so if you want to watch along with us, whether it's a DVD or it's HBO Max or some other streaming service this may wind up on, uh, if it happens to be Lionsgate's logo, let that go. And if there's not, you can just start it from the very beginning. And I'll say a 3, 2, 1 play, and then Brian and I will press play, and anyone else who's doing this with us, press play as well. And I'm not sure what will happen or why we're doing this, but it's an experiment. So are we ready? Are we ready for the summer?
Yes, in this
Okay.
virtual laboratory.
Right. And if you need a moment to cue it up and grab your DVD, pause this, press pause on the YouTube, because we're not going to sit here with dead air. So pause it when you're ready, unpause it, and join us. Okay. I'm going to assume people did that and they are back with us. Okay. This is the worst intro ever, and hopefully it gets better from here.
No,
Okay.
it will.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. There it
All
is.
right, mountain time.
Yeah.
Bush.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Wrong movie, but that always reminds me of it. Now that right there,
Legal
when it turns to blue, it reminds me of TV shows, because at the end of the TV shows, it would show that at the end of
at
certain.
the end of movies too. Oh,
That's true. So here it opens up with a hand, and this, of course, is the hand of the one and only Bill Murray. And we're going to have the opening credits, and he's doing the morning announcements, which kind of becomes a routine, a shtick of his throughout the movie. Classic Bill Murray. And I wanted to start off with asking Brian, or I could go first, your first memory of seeing this movie. Like by the time you and I watched it together, we were in high school. I'm
yeah.
sure you saw it prior to that. So what's kind of your first memories of Meatballs, the movie?
At the drive-in in 1981 or 82.
So it was
And
a re-release type thing.
yeah, it was a double feature with Rocky 3.
Holy smokes, that is awesome. I did not see it drive-in or theater. My first memory is, and it's a fuzzy memory, because we were, at one point in my life, we moved around a lot, but one point in my life, we lived in Rhode Island. And I don't think we were living in Rhode Island. I think we had come back to visit old neighbors. You know, parents like to do that.
Yeah.
There's the logo, Meatballs, in a interesting color and font.
Yes, and it's all kind of uh, uh, scrambled together, uh, looks like trouble in a font form.
Yeah, but the rest of you see the rest of the fonts are very uh, uniform and nice and neat. But my memory is watching it at some old family friend's house. I think it's very hazy because I was very young, and I think they're one of these people who very early had a VHS or a Betamax, or maybe they rent it for the weekend. And this was probably, I mean, the movie came out theatrically 79, so it's got to be 80 or 80. Well, you may be able to help me. I want to say they also rented Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Yeah, because that came out in 81, 82.
Yeah, so that was probably like the new release they got, and they grabbed me. And maybe I'm getting two different visits with these people mashed together, but I have some memory of that because I remember, we can't watch that one till the kids go to bed, or maybe they watch part of it.
Yeah.
But I remember as a very young person, I was very excited to see Meatballs. I hadn't seen it yet. And here he goes into the restroom. And I can't remember if there's a
I
flush.
always imagine Bill Murray actually waking up like this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's pretty much plays himself in the movie. Here comes Morty, aka Mickey. 4 people to write this silly movie.
I am Mickey.
But anyway, I remember watching, and I guess I never realized till later on that it's a PG movie. Like the poster has like some scantily clad women. Like I thought, I was like, holy smokes! I'm gonna be like, I thought maybe I was seeing a rated R movie or something. It just kind of, in the sequels, became rated R. Just kind of had that sequel, as I say in air quotes. It kind of had that I don't want to say reputation, but it's like a people I think mistaken it for like a an 80s sex comedy when it's
they always kind of use that Mad Magazine kind of look to the painted posters.
Yeah, which I love. And it's got a little bit of that, but it's pretty tame movie. And it is, I mean, this would definitely be a PG-13 if it came out now, but PG-13 didn't exist till 84 with Red Dawn. So this is this is PG. Not hard enough to be an R. But anyway, so it turned out to be much tamer than I expected, but I still was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing Meatballs, a Bill Murray movie. I'm so excited. Not as cool as you seeing it on the seeing the drive-in. Now I wanted to, we already got through the credits, I believe, and I wanted to ask Brian Land about the DP Dan Wilder, because your DPs, directors of photography, that is, cinematographers, you know them up and down, right and left. What can you tell us about Dan Wilder?
He was deeply rooted in Canadian cinema, a lot of mostly independent films, and the States. He was probably best known for shooting a TV movie known as When Michael Calls. And that was probably from, I don't know, probably 72, 73, something like that. And after that, really, this was probably his most high profile production that he shot. But I know Ivan Reitman probably had been recommended him by somebody, because this whole movie is sort of Ivan Reitman's, I guess, sort of an affectionate letter to his memories at summer camp. And he spent many a summer with co-writers Len Blum and who was the other writer?
Harold Ramis has writing credit, and
he did a polish on it. I didn't ultimately due to his National Lampoon affiliation, and of course Reitman was coming off of the success of Animal House, having produced that.
Here comes Rudy. We probably just heard. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt because I don't want to miss parts of the movie. Rudy's theme. I remember Rudy. Every time you saw Rudy, had that slow, kind of depressing music, and we assume that's called Rudy's theme. I just switched to earbuds because I just was thinking I'm using an external mic, and I'm wondering if it's picking you up through the speakers on the computer as well. So if there was weird audio up to this point, that is why. But hopefully it wasn't, and it'll be clear going forward. Had one of those light bulb moments. I said, I wonder if it's picking up, Zooms. There could be echoes and stuff.
And here's the ever charming Crockett.
Yeah, interesting. That's his nickname, and his name, it's not his name. His name, I forget. There's that scene where he's like, don't call me that.
Bobby.
Call me Bobby. That's right. Bobby. What's wrong with Bobby? That's a normal name.
Don't call me Bobby.
Right. And here comes Spaz. He's venturing to enemy territory.
And of course, they play the old-fashioned official Native American theme for Camp Mohawk.
Yes, this is 1979. Some of this is dated. Look at this. They got it catered. Here comes, he went to get a drink. And this stuck out to me that the Camp Mohawk guys look so much older. And this guy's got a mustache and sideburns.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they are 26, 27.
Oh, yeah, I know. But even the, the Camp North Star CITs do pass for younger, I think.
Right. And Bill was like 28, 27 when he was doing this, I think.
I believe it. But he's the like whatever he is, head counselor. He's not the in training, the CIT.
Yeah.
Now this here comes a classic moment where Bill or Tripper, we use his character name, poses as a counselor here at Camp Mohawk. But what I want to understand is what is he doing? What is he doing over here? You know, did he see the film crew? Like it's just so random that he's there. Like, why is he talking to parents from a different camp? I mean, it's a very funny scene, but when I was watching, when you watch things multiple times, you think about things more. And I was like, what is he doing over there? Why is he not with his own bus?
He was positioning himself to sabotage Camp Mohawk's media exposure.
That I'm sure that's it. And this guy falls for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And that I remember I watched the trailer recently. They used some bits from the trailer. Although the trailer doesn't explain that he's doing it as a joke for the other camp. So, that's what they want to entice you to watch the movie. Like, whoa, do they really do these crazy things at this camp? So yeah, we got Tripper, our lead, our wise guy, Bill Murray. Like I said earlier, playing Bill Murray. Oh, and he mentioned Jerry Ardini is the name is the pseudonym he uses, which is hilarious. And I believe that's the same name he used on Saturday Night Live for the Lounge Singer.
You're right.
So that's his sense. That's his go-to funny name. It's just a funny sounding name. And I remember hearing him use that fake name made me actually LOL, literally LOL.
And this was shot on location.
Yep.
In a camp in Ontario.
Yes, I was thinking, in 2021, and when you're older, you think about things you don't think of when you're younger or in quote unquote, a different time. But there isn't very much diversity in this movie. But then I thought if they shot it like in the woods of Canada, there probably isn't much diversity there either.
No.
So they're hiring local actors, for all the small parts and the extras. So it makes sense,
Yeah. And they were happy to have the film crew there because they shot during season.
Oh, we just missed a great line. They said, "You must be the short depressed kid we ordered."
Yeah, that's the one I used to use all the time.
Which you could tell because it's in the wide shot. It's obviously dubbed in, but it's such a great line. There's a few parts of that you can tell they dubbed it later because they probably thought, they thought of it after the fact, perhaps, or maybe the audio was bad. Bill did an improv on a take, and they go, "You got to come back in and redub that."
Or they use just a better, line that they later come up with.
And here's something I noticed right away watching this on a bigger screen than we would back in the day. You can notice his fly is undone because these girls are going to say your fly's undone.
Yeah.
Oh, and real. We were watching on our little 18-inch TV or something back in the day. I don't know if I ever caught that immediately. That yes, his fly is undone.
Well, Spaz and his counterpart Larry Fink. What a team.
Yeah, Larry Finkelstein. Now, I don't recall, is Spaz's name ever revealed?
No.
I think he's just Spaz. Because like Fink, Larry Finkelstein, they call him Fink or the Fink. He's just Spaz, and he's having a hard time with that zipper. And here's Tripper gathering the tree. And one thing that really stuck out to me is some of these men's shorts are quite short. Like Bill's right there is short, but there's a scene later on where I noticed one of the referees when they're doing the Olympiad, there's like uncomfortably short shorts on them.
I look back on photos from youth, and I was definitely riding that train as well.
Yeah, the guy here with the hat, I can't remember what's his character. Hardware is next to Murray.
You got Wheels.
Wheels, that's right. Now look at Wheels has got some long shorts. And Wheels, I watched interesting. Back up real quick. He just tore up the rules. And when I was younger, I thought that was the coolest. That's just very rebellious. He is the cool counselor. But when I watched this for the most recent time, it was my wife's first time. So it was kind of interesting to kind of experience it with someone who's seeing it for the first time. Are they going to laugh at the same stuff I laugh at? And part of my laughter during this movie is like nostalgic, like, the short depressed kid, like that makes me laugh. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're watching a movie you practically know by heart, you kind of laugh just out of like, hitch in the feels, as they say.
It's the casting that helps. Everybody's pretty endearing.
Yeah,
this
that's a good
cast.
word. Even this little kid, he's a cute little kid. And
Yeah,
I
you remind me of my little brother.
was about to say that. I think I remember you telling me that in the past. And when I met your younger brother, he was older than this, but I could definitely see that. And this is this that's Crockett, right?
Yep, that is
Yeah,
Crockett. He's
Crockett.
kind
I
of
think.
trying to break it to the kid that,
Well, he
you
handles
know,
it very well. He never tells him. He's like,
no,
I'll look after the frog," and we never find out what happens. They kind of leave you hanging.
no, it's just a moment. And in the
Right.
movie, and it has a lot of moments. You know,
Definitely.
they decided to concentrate on Bill Murray in the edits. Um, they really had it kind of as an ensemble film, but he really kind of took over. You know,
Yeah, I actually read that they went back and filled extra scenes with him and Rudy because they kind of
right?
realized that was the quote unquote heart of the film. And
Yes,
speaking of heart, here's his romantic
that's
counterpart.
Ivan Reitman's stunt double.
Yes, you've always mentioned that she kind of favors the director Ivan Reitman, and maybe oh maybe it's his sister or something, but nope. And there he's face to face with some
Hello.
breast. Yeah, that's Spaz had a moment. um, and I was gonna say about Wheels. I told my wife that was Adam Sandler, and I think for a few seconds she believed me. He has a young Adam Sandler look
Yeah,
to him,
I could
you
see
know,
that.
because Sandler was good and skinny like that when he first broke on the scene.
Yeah, he had some length.
And he's got the nose and the hair, but in 79 he was probably what, 11,
And
12 or
and
something.
here's the Judy Bloom moment.
Yes. And here comes I don't recall her name, but maybe you do.
And yeah, I don't even remember the actress's name, but I think they came from television, from Canadian
Yeah,
television.
well, I mainly
Yeah,
was worried trying to recall the character's name, and
yeah.
I guess I could cheat and look it up. I was trying not to do
You know
that.
what? I don't recall her name being mentioned.
That's why I'm having a hard time remembering it, but
I just rewatched it.
I'm gonna go to IMDb because it's gonna be on there. And
When I was a kid, I actually had a crush on her. Yeah,
yeah, she kind of had that. She kind of reminds me of what's her name from Family Ties, the mom on Family Ties,
yeah.
Meredith.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Okay, her character's name, the actress's name is Christine DeBelle. She looks like a
Okay,
Christine. A period L period is the name of her character according to
that means they
IMDb.
didn't have a name.
I guess so. And here's Rudy and his bunkmates, and they're kind of picking on Rudy. Now this guy's a pretty big part in the movie. I want to say
Yeah,
his character's name was Paul. Does that sound right?
yeah. He always kind of barks something once in a while.
Yeah, and he doesn't care. He doesn't hate Rudy, but he's getting ahead of myself. But later on, he is the one that's voting against Rudy running the
Yeah,
long distance race
he's not
because
sympathetic to
well,
the
he's
outsider.
he just kind of showed his character trait. He's like, we got a game coming up, and I really want to win. He's
Yeah,
like, win at all cost, and Rudy, as we'll see soon, doesn't know how to play soccer, and
I always
you
thought, why
know.
don't you go over to Camp Mohawk? Why don't you? You
Oh,
want to
that guy,
win
yeah,
so
he
bad.
kind of, who knows? I thought the thing those guys were just lifting. Some of those kids were awfully little to be lifting that giant piece of a raft or whatever it was.
And
Here's the
these are
mess
all
hall.
campers, these are all
Yeah,
campers at the camp for real.
yep. Filmed during camp. They got these extra shots. Now, I'm sure these close ups. This stuff was probably on a different day on a
Yeah.
closed set, but for like some of the establishing shots.
And we
And
got Lance.
Lance is I wonder if a lot of his stuff was on the I don't know what he's doing here. This way he's looking, he's just checking out the scene. Murray. Like he doesn't have to say anything and he makes me laugh. There's Adam. This is the scene where I said it was Adam Sandler because he really looked like him to me here. If they show Wheels again. Of course, I never explained why his name is Wheels. Maybe he was the only one that owned a car or something, but
Well, he seems like a mechanic or
yeah. Well, then there's
um
hardware because hardware is the. And I was watching this with my wife, and she's like, "What are they chanting here?" I said, "It's gossip, gossip, gossip. We want
yeah.
gossip." And the gossip girl, she kind of has an interesting voice. It's very, I don't
It's kind
know.
of deep and kind of
Yeah, like,
throaty.
and I guess it's almost like a DJ voice. So maybe
Yeah.
her character grew up to be a DJ, and You know, maybe a gossip columnist, a gossip entertainment reporter or something.
Yeah,
Um,
she probably does. Yeah, all the gossip for Ontario to this day.
there's Adam Sandler. Wasting his salad. That was probably Larry's salad. He wasn't going to touch that.
Weeb.
You got to have a fat guy. You got to have the rich camp. That's the
Yes.
competition. All these.
Well, this is you do have Harold Ramis left over from the National Lampoon, so
The
they
slobs
basically,
versus the
yeah,
snobs
the
type thing. But
snobs.
I'm
Yeah,
also
that
wondering,
whole.
like, there because of this movie, probably I'm a fan of camp movies. There's also, Poison Ivy, the Michael J. Fox NBC movie. There was a short-lived NBC series a few years back just called Camp that I think I'm the only person that watched it. It was canceled after one season. And I don't even really, I remember going to camp briefly when I was young. I don't really enjoy the camp experience, but for some reason I like camp-themed movies and shows. And
Yeah.
it is an interesting concept. It's like you're at school, but you don't really see these people afterwards. You don't really keep in touch. Nowadays with social media, that might have changed, but like,
Mhm.
I don't remember who my camp friends were. I remember like having some fun with them, but here's Rudy scoring the wrong goal, which they don't really fully
Ah.
explain, but we kind of tell that what happened. The other team celebrating
Mhm.
their skins, making it even more humiliating. He's got to walk around with
Well,
without a
Ivan
shirt.
Reitman had the opposite experience where he stayed in touch with his camp friends, Dan
Wow.
Goldberg and Len Blum, and they ended up writing a summer camp movie
Well,
all
there
those
you
years
go.
later.
Now this, I remember this, obviously for some reason, this seems like in my memory, this was later in the movie. It feels like it should be later in the movie. Like we
It was a
barely,
reshoot.
we've
This
just,
was added, I think.
well, I get that, but we just met Rudy, and this also is the beginning of their relationship. But in my mind, I, for some reason, thought this was closer to the movie. Like they were
Yeah.
already friends. This is where they become friends. And this is where he orders fries. Can I get some fries? Like for some reason, that delivery would always make me laugh. And he's going to pretend to his
Yep.
faux surprise that he's
Oh,
there.
hey.
And it's coming up, but he never eats the fries. And that always bothered me. What a waste of fries and a
That's
waste of money because he pays for them.
that's the way I feel in most films, and that's a very common thing to happen.
It is true, but Rudy's down in that milkshake. It's almost over.
That's a
Here comes
pretty
the
good
fries.
diner for a bus stop.
I never thought about that.
I mean, they got a full menu back there. Just looking at it.
Or
I
maybe
mean,
it's across the street from the bus stop or adjacent
no,
to it or
that's
something.
food right there.
Yeah, it's convenient for travelers. Got some extras making the scene.
Sad sack campers.
Well, yeah. Well, I wonder how close this was because Rudy, I assume, walked there, but
Yeah.
maybe Tripper gave him a ride back on the back of his motorcycle. We don't get to see it because obviously this like I said, they later on did some reshoots and fleshed out the Rudy Tripper relationship, which I think is the right call. I think it kind of makes the movie gel because, like you mentioned, a lot of like segments. There really is not much of a plot to this movie.
No.
It's kind of like
I mean,
a situation, almost like a situation comment. The situation is this is a camp. It's the low budget camp. They're lovable losers. Even in the scene earlier with the buses, we established Mohawks. Spaz gets the shake or drink dumped on him. So, these are the bad guys. They're obviously a rival. It comes to a crescendo at the end with the Olympiad between the two camps. So it all makes sense. There's but it's not much of a plot. It just
no,
first day of
it's about
camp and last
moments.
day of camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, moments, which is fine. But it's kind of like, and when you're a young person, you don't really realize that. When I was older, I was like, if I'd explain to somebody what this movie's about, I could just say, well, it's just kind of a look back at how summer camp was. And it's like a slice of life from the late 70s. Because, I mean, check out that hair right there. Goodness gracious.
But that plot, the plot is just like they decided to focus in the editing room on this relationship. This relationship really is the plot.
Right. That's yes, exactly. If there is one running plot line, it's these two guys, and it's kind of Rudy. I guess Rudy has the story arc. It's kind of his hero's journey.
Yep.
He's the lovable loser. He wants to give up. Tripper's basically like his Yoda or Obi-Wan. He kind of mentors him, inspires him, and he comes through at the end. Spoiler in case you haven't seen this. And there's in a hole in the wall because they're trying to. I just love the name Hardware, and I think later when Tripper wakes him up, he's sleeping with his tool belt on. I just kind of love that.
Yeah.
Like, that's him. It's like everyone has their own little personality. And
it actually looked like fetish gear.
Yes, but we know that his name is Hardware, and this scene kind of establishes his affinity for that type of stuff. Here's Morty realizing that the AC unit's missing, and Tripper knows it was probably he likes it. It was a hijink,
Here's Ivan Reitman going over script notes.
And there's Gene Shalit reviewing the movie. I always thought Morty resembled Gene Shalit a little bit. And here comes I don't know how to describe this scene. It's not a love scene. It's Tripper gets a little frisky.
It's tribal.
Yeah, but if you see shortly, well, he's going to make the comment. You can see down her shirt. I don't know how much he saw. Like, it doesn't seem like there's, she's not the most buxom young lady. But it was still kind of a funny, awkward moment he was trying to create there. And then he decides to wrestle her. And as a wrestling fan, I got a kick out of this because he drops like the fake elbow drops and stuff. And I think he eventually gets her on the couch and attempts to or does bite her buttocks, which is kind of odd. This is kind of pre-Me Too movement. Here comes the fake elbow drop. He's not hurting her anyone. He's just being a goof.
I always like when he did the hair.
Yes, and that he knows he's gonna miss. He's doing these exaggerated dives, and that's very funny. He falls on purpose. She doesn't know what to make of it. And here's where he gets a little handsy, but these kind of things, moments we're expecting these type of movies. That's a little odd, looking back on it.
I do think Harold Ramis or Ivan Reitman said, Bill's a very physical person, so yeah, he's kind of like this.
Right, and it kind of reminded me of when he did the like Lupiner skits on Saturday Night Live with Gilda.
Yeah,
but exaggerated. Like, right. Well, what if that guy Todd, I guess his name, wasn't a nerd and really did try to get fresh with a girl? Maybe it'd be like this. So it kind of reminded me of the Lupiner nerd skits, but cranked up to 11.
Yeah, and their physicality.
Right, and then he turns the table to make Morty think he was the one being attacked, but and then we're moving on.
Then that's the close of the gag.
Right, and then these guys think they're going to get AC, and of course they don't. And though there's a good line coming up here, it's a good delivery. There's like a slight pause. I think Crockett says it. It's off camera who's saying it, but it sounds like Crockett says it when he
when the lights go out.
Yeah, when he says hardware, yeah, and ... you're a dick. Yep. So there it goes, because the whole camp goes out. So everyone hates hardware if they know who did it. And my sound's turned down, and I forgot to put my captions on, but I'm afraid it'll pause the movie if I do that. So I'm gonna just let it roll without them. So there in the dark scene, we heard him call him a dick. It was just a funny one syllable word. It's a funny word.
It goes far. Again,
obviously a PG-13. I just saw like Cookie Monster eyes. I never noticed that before.
Yeah, and the production design in here, they would pepper the backgrounds with
I think that kid had like a Cookie Monster pajamas or something laying on his pillow. I've never noticed that before.
And then Bill Murray has a Mr. Peanut like stuffed thing in his background.
I do remember that, and they play poker for peanuts.
Yeah,
so Rudy's walking around with a sombrero full of peanuts.
I hope you sleep
well. So here he goes. He's stalking Tripper. I'm assuming he's seen Tripper jog in the past. So he's like maybe the previous day, and he's like, I'm going to go join him because, I think Tripper talking him into coming back meant a lot to him, and, extended he doesn't have any friends. So this is going to be his friend.
Although I highly doubt Bill Murray actually jogged.
Character. Yes. And as you can tell, whenever they have scenes of him jogging, they're very short.
But But I think they punctuate that with his reaction at the end of this scene, which is to basically kind of nearly pass out.
Right. Classic Bill Murray. Typical Bill Murray.
Yeah, there you go. You got to pay the price. Stick with me, kid.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering if this was a reshooter in there, because it's pretty obvious, like when they go to the bus stop scene, or this is just a funny little thing, getting bothered by a bee. And around this time in 1979, it's probably when I got one of the most memorable bee stings as a kid. I had a Hot Wheels mesh shirt. It might have been I don't know if it was a half tee or not, but it went up into the shirt, and I could see the bee through the mesh, and then I got stung. And one of those childhood moments you never forget. Now here's Lance. It just feels like there was more to Lance, and maybe he got cut out. And here we see the kidnapping scene.
This is when it was still kind of an ensemble movie.
Right. So I'm wondering if there was more scenes between these three, because this kind of feels like this love triangle just comes out of nowhere. Like there could have been previous scenes, and like almost like before we knew Luke and Leia were brother and sister, was like, who's she gonna go with, Luke or Han? Like this could have been that type of scenario. And here's where she reveals her feelings for Crockett, but it just kind of feels, to me, it feels like out of nowhere. It feels like there was probably some previous scenes and more to this subplot, but it is what it is. Kind of
because really Meatballs was kind of like
there's a
Robert
good
Altman's Nashville, but in a summer camp.
That's a good point. And that's what he, and here, speaking of Meatballs, this is the line coming up where he calls, I believe Fink calls Spaz a meatball.
Yeah, and almost the title, because Rick Dees in the theme song actually says Meatballs.
Right, and that's the name of the movie. And like you said, it's an ensemble piece, so it's got to be plural. You know, if the movie is completely about Spaz, maybe it'd be called Meatball, and Spaz is the meatball. But it's interesting because it really makes no sense why it's called Meatballs. But I can't picture it being called anything else. Everyone knows when you say Meatballs, you think of a silly camp movie with Bill Murray.
Except for like maybe One Crazy Summer, but which was a later summer camp movie, which would have been an alternate title appropriate for this one.
Right. Although technically I don't think that takes place at a camp, but it's actually a summer movie.
Right.
That's when John Cusack, maybe that could be another watch along. That's a Savage Steve Holland film. Great. And there's another announcement. This might have been the Some Kind of Meat announcement. It's pretty funny. If I had my captions on, I know for sure, but I forgot to do that. So anyway, if you're still listening at this point and you have some meatball memories of your own, put them in the comment section, or summer camp memories. Here's like this scene, the way it's shot, like I'm assuming this is on a set because they added it later, and it just kind of has that feel to it. And not a big deal. I'm actually glad they fleshed out this storyline more, and Bill Murray's hilarious, and probably a lot of this was ad-libbed, I'm assuming. And speaking of that, earlier when he put the toothpick at the bus stop, he's gonna slap him around, and Rudy goes, I don't want you to hurt anyone. I was like, does Rudy not get that he's joking? And then he says, I will take that mofo. And like, this is a funny word, especially coming out of Bill Murray's mouth, mofo. And he's, you kill him with a corkscrew. This is weird. Looks like they're drinking club soda.
Yeah, it is. It's Schweppes Club Soda.
Yes. And it's good for burps, as we're going to see right here. If you have your sound on, this is a great burp. And there's Rudy doing an awful burp. And it reminds me of when you and I had lunch period one year, this new kid, kind of like a Rudy, we let him sit with us. And remember, he did awful burps just like that.
Yep, that's true. I remember his.
I don't know. I would burp just because I felt.
And I think he used to do the "oh really" a lot. Actual.
You and I.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I think you did it better than me. I one time was speaking while burping. I did a really good. I belched out and said "honky tonk man," which was a wrestler from the '80s, really loud in one of our science classes, and the teacher got mad. And looking back, I go, I could see why she would, but I'm like, who would get mad at someone belching out "honky tonk man" out of nowhere?
Everybody loves the honk.
Yeah, I mean, you laughed. Brian Kirk laughed. I'm sure some other people laughed, but she was not pleased. Um, anyway, silly kids. I guess
And
they're.
of course, Rudy is quite the shark.
Yeah, he
And
was
not to
winning
get
so well. When I watched this recently, I was quite. Is he cheating? Because he keeps getting 20, 21. They're playing blackjack, and he's really doing well. Now I have not summer camp, but we used to go to a campground like once every summer for like a 3 or 4 year period in my youth. We go to the same campground and stay in a camper and kind of semi roughing it. Um, so I did go to, I do a summer camp memories, but I also have campground memories that kind of remind me of this movie as well. But I remember we used to play poker for peanuts. And I don't
Yeah,
know if I'd seen this movie yet or not, but I think it's just something you do to pass the time. You don't have, can't watch TV or whatever. Look at door, and then it says it was no kidding, no kidding. Someone wrote.
well, they do that. I mean, this is typical of all the cabins. There's a lot of like little gags in the background, little
Now,
things like
what
that.
is this? This looks like an album cover. The shadow of your smile, I think it says.
Yeah.
What is that all about? I think it's a woman.
Again, very interesting. I kind of like the little details.
Yeah. And I think someone said this camp stinks, and someone will believe me or something underneath it. But here he's coming. Oh, this is the first time we prank Morty. He's waking
Yeah.
him up. I think this is where we see hardware with the hardware around his. Look at Spaz
Right.
sleeping like a baby. Oh, Spaz fell out of the. Are we still synced up pretty good, Brian? It sounds like
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
we did
There's
good. I was worried about getting that just right, and then he dropped the.
again, that tool belt looks kind of fetishy.
Yeah, and he's got a rope hanging from it. Maybe he's into some bondage or something. Sleeping with his handkerchief, looking cool, looking cool.
Dog face.
Everybody's so young and in shape, with the exception of Fink. They're heading straight out in their underwear.
But
Now,
funny trivia though, Lynn Blum and Dan Goldberg and Ivan Reitman all worked on David Cronenberg's Rabid.
wow, I would have never guessed that.
I believe Lynn Blum and I think Dan Goldberg was like an assistant editor. Lynn Blum was like sound. And of course, Ivan Reitman was producer.
See, this is why I like to have Brian around when I'm discussing movies. He knows the little tidbits like that many people don't know, and many people don't care. I find it interesting, but
Canadian cinema at that time was very close knit because it was a small industry. And they would shoot these movies often at the end of a year. Not this one in particular, because this was in summer, but
right.
they'd shoot them in December because investors would plant their money into film productions as a tax shelter.
Right. It could be a write-off if it's
yeah.
as a loss.
Yeah. So most of the films, feature films in Canada, were rushed into production at the end of the year. Everyone was shooting right up to Christmas Eve.
Wow.
And so they could wrap. And it had to be finished by December 31st.
Now, how in the world does Morty sleep through this? I mean, yes, I know it's a movie, but
if he didn't sleep, the gag wouldn't work.
Of course, but and at some point in the past over the years, at some point Tripper learned that he's a very deep sleeper, and therefore you can do this type of stuff. Maybe we should make a prequel, the origin story explaining.
Everybody does an origin story.
Tying up all the loose ends.
Morty, a Star Wars story.
Or Morty in the font of like Joker. It could be like in the style of the Joker movie, but all about Morty and his descent into madness. All these pranks turn him into he loses his mind. Look at that, his night table and everything. That's impressive. Look at all those. That's how he sleeps. Look at all the medication.
But this was always weird. Like, who's yelling at him? The parents?
Right. How do they
call him Mickey?
I mean, I guess sometimes Rudy's the new kid, but maybe kids go to the same camp every year. So maybe these parents are in on the joke, you
I
know.
guess.
And look at
They
this.
all
This
sound
is
like kids.
that's Spaz Senior. It's the
Yep.
only time we see him, but that's perfect casting. Like that
Yep.
guy.
Another example of the probably moments that were expanded upon and then cut back.
Possibly, but it's good
He's
casting
the only
regardless.
parent you really see.
Yeah, you see some generic and film again, real footage of Parents'
Yes.
Day from the camp they shot at of just generic parents, but you don't know.
They should have like carried on the gag, like every parent should look like the kid. like Spaz's
Fink's parents, of course, would be overweight, and Will's parents wear hats and big noses. I don't know. Yeah, this is actual footage, I believe, of Parents' Day, which is kind
and
of
this is
crazy.
a beautiful tune.
That kid's crying. I wonder if they got releases, you know, the signed release that they could use their image.
Another
And that's
tender
genuine.
moment.
And this is another weird thing about just camp in general. I think I don't recall. I was very young. I don't know if I went to a day camp or an overnight camp. Maybe I went to both because staying overnight is weird at a young age.
This is like it's like going to war or the army.
Yeah, and you're awfully young to do it. Like my memories of camp, because like again, we moved around. I mentioned Rhode Island earlier. We lived in Indiana for about a year and a half. I think that was the summer I went to camp. And I think that was summer between first and second grade. So I was what, 7 or 8? That's crazy.
I know it's you got to put up with everyone else's, eccentricities for 2 months or whatever it is, and not to have your own space always seemed nightmarish to me.
And I don't know, maybe mine was only 2 weeks or maybe it was a day camp, but I remember having like an end of the camp, like a sing along by the campfire. So maybe it was overnight. I probably blocked it out of my memory because it wasn't a fun experience.
Well, my brother and I did the day camp. I think it was a YMCA day camp.
Yeah, and I think I did something like that too at one point. Just something your parents assume you want to do and should do, even though you don't enjoy it. Now, this is one of the few like sex comedy type moments where the boys are spying on the girls and the girls are being silly and reading a romance novel. And
I mean, really, when you think about it, even though this is a soft movie, it really kind of sets the summer camp kind of sex rom.
Oh yeah, standard. And there's a moment here where it just happened where you almost can barely hear it because it's so quick. Where Spaz says he's getting a boner, and it's funny, because his mouth is muffled, but it's just a funny word, just like hardware. You're a dick. I don't know. I guess male genitalia have funny names. That's the serious girl. Look how much more conservative she's dressed. She's got the full head to toe
lots of nightgown. Socks pulled up just like I used to wear them.
Look how sweaty Larry is. And they're busted. Oh, the serious girl she's gonna spank him with the fly swatter.
Yeah, they get
spanked. Yeah. Larry gets stuck. Had to happen. He's the big guy.
he really, truly, all the way through it, thinks he's being assaulted by Spaz.
Yeah, it's true. I forgot about that. That's pretty funny. What are you doing? There they go. There goes the pants.
And he thinks Spaz is doing this.
Right. Even though doesn't he hear the girls laughing? But anyway. And then he probably thinks Spaz is spanking him. And she's not doing it like in a fun, sexy way. She's doing it to punish him because he's been a bad boy.
How could you?
And that's a good line. How could you? There's his giant pants. They probably were hoping they'd be flapping in the wind better, like the wind was probably light that day, so they got what they could get. Now they're heading off to, I think they have an away game.
Yes.
It's might be the basketball scene at Mohawk, and there is, I just remembered when I lived in Indiana, Mohawk Trails, I think was the name of my elementary school.
Cue theme.
Yep. Look at this. They have horseback riding. It's really, look at golf carts. It's a really nice camp. Although
they all you got to do is shadow the detail, just throw in a little golf cart.
Look at these cheerleaders kind of half-assing it, I think. Like if you hear the audio, they're not really into it.
But they do have uniforms, so that's
Right.
so Mohawk.
And they got choreography, and they do
Yeah.
well, they have choreography too.
And here we go, we got the slobs.
But they just look like more fun. These are the people you'd want to hang out with, have a beer with. And that's the whole intent, I guess.
Yes.
I was waiting for them to fall down, but they don't. Sitting on the basketball. I love how these guys like make every single shot, even during warm up. It's like it's good editing because I'm sure when they shot, they didn't make.
And they do actually make every shot. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. You wonder how many takes they had to do. Oh, I just noticed Larry's got a candy bar stuffed in the front of his pants. That's what's great. Like little details like that. I've seen this 10 times, maybe more, and I'm noticing things for the first time. And that butterfly button, what is up with that?
Well, Bill Murray showed up to this film, I guess 3 days before shooting. So his clothes were his clothes.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Most of his clothes is his clothes, which is kind of telling, embarrassing. Look at this. This is great. This would be you and I trying to do this probably. I was in basketball. I enjoy watching it, but it's just it was. Look at these guys. These guys are the studs. Look at this. Even the little guy's good. Those two little guys up front. Boom, boom. All going
and
in.
That's not a great net either. So to make that net, it's pretty good.
She kind of looks like Crockett a little bit.
Right.
One of those couples that look alike. And the referee kind of looks like him too. It's the 70s. Everyone, girls aren't wearing heavy makeup and the guys are got shaggy hair. Look at these. That's some cool Spaz misses the attempt.
And that's another summer camp movie classic. Is someone using a like sort of a half crop jersey.
Yeah. Well, that was the style at the time. Yeah. I think I even had one. I wouldn't dare wear one now, but anyway. There's the mustache guy just knocked hardware down, I think. And then it goes in, of course. The referee's being very liberal with the rules here, not calling too many fouls.
Me and Gene would not allow this.
Look at hardware. I mean, Wheels is serious. You got knee pads. Look at that. Oh, gosh. I accidentally almost called Roxanne a guy. But I noticed her shirt was very like Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, that was.
Spaz is Spaz would be a Weird Al fan. Look at that shirt on the right.
That is Roxanne. That's right.
And I think that quick shot there was Bill Tripper trying to explain the game to her, like in a serious way.
He was talking about the defense. They work it up in the front.
Yeah. The guys play offense and defense. Look at that guy on the left. It was quite a look. But it wasn't funny, but it was still kind of funny, just like the way I don't know any delivery he has. And he's gonna make it to the social. He'll be at the social, ladies. That's obviously fake blood, but what do you want? Real blood? The girl with the hat, I don't remember her name. Oh, she's the one that winds up with Spaz, I think.
Well, she's very sweet to him.
They kind of become a couple by the end, it seems like. Like when they go on the overnighter, everyone kind of pairs up. Oh, they held hands. Remember they hold hands? Yeah. But everyone pairs up with the lady except for Larry. I felt bad for Larry.
Yeah, that wasn't fair.
And that was a good shot right to the head. And I also find it interesting. It looks like on both camps, of all these like hundreds of people, he's the only chubby guy. No, they have the stomach. I forgot later on during the hot dog contest. But that's it. Each camp has one token fat guy.
And of course, they put them together in that one scene.
Well, you got to if you're going to have the hot dog contest, Yeah. Although when you watch the hot dog eating contest, it's the skinnier guys usually win. But, it's a stereotype.
Like the Coney Island.
Yeah, that's crazy. I try to watch it every year. I love it. I don't know why.
And then they immediately vomit afterwards.
Joey Chestnut claims he doesn't. He always like, I could eat some more. That guy's a machine. Yeah, right. Anyway, we're getting off topic. That could be a movie poster right there. It almost looked like Chainsaw Massacre 2 or The Breakfast Club, the way they're all laying together. They're done. This is when Bill Murray just throws in the towel. Like we can't defeat him, but we can humiliate them.
And he uses the water bottle very well.
Yeah, he does. And he's a few squirts, and he doesn't. And he's not playing. The other guys are huffing and puffing, laying on the ground. He's been sitting there watching it. And poor Morty, speaking of huffing and puffing, he had to ride his bike the whole way there. Morty, Mickey. Look at the. I'll talk to you later because he wants to support the team, so he doesn't want to discuss it now. I'll have a word with you later, Mister. Look at that hat. Morty's quite a character. It kind of reminds me of Mr. Cotter a little bit too.
Sometimes it sounds like a slightly Lucy and Sticks feel.
Jeez, I wonder if they had so many outtakes where the underwear came down too. Jeez.
Oh yeah, you know someone went for it.
Well, even by accident, it got snagged, because
exactly.
Those are tight shorts and tight undies. And here they're going to leave Morty again.
Spaz really goes for it.
Yeah, it's like he's going to be the next action hero. He's proud of his troops. They celebrate, and then Morty
gets assaulted.
Yeah, and they steal his bike. So he didn't even get to ride. He had to walk back. Oh, Morty. I feel sorry for him. I like the consistency though, because they had the Gossip Girl on that bus. They kept the same core people. They didn't the Gossip Girl didn't come in and do one day, even if she didn't have another line, she's still there throughout the movie.
Well, the casting was kind of like George Romero. He would always use local talent, and they were always very memorable.
Now here's Lance not giving up yet, even though her heart belongs to Crockett. And look at this with the handkerchief. Now I see people like that now during COVID because they sometimes will do that to pull it up and over their face. But this is definitely pre-COVID, and he's doing it for style.
And I still kind of do the rev with my fist, just like Bill Murray does when I dance.
Oh yeah. I don't understand Crockett's outfit. I think he has overalls underneath that.
It's like a sweater, like a robe sweater.
Yeah. And there's the girl I think he holds hands with later. She's got an interesting hairdo. Kind of like that flip. It's almost like hat hair.
And some more Rick Dees on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Rick Dees' big hit was Disco Duck around this time. I think we either had it, we might have one of those K-Tel albums that had Disco Duck on it, or we had I don't know if there was I just remember having the Disco Duck record. I like the guy on the far left. He's doing a little.
Yeah.
Now I did read online.
Spaz in the background. Look at Spaz.
I read that they were not dancing to this actual song. This song was, I think some of the Rick D songs were recorded later and dubbed in. Look at Spaz go. Good call. And that's the girl that won his heart. There's a Miss Conservative. Yeah, I don't know what he's got on. It's like a onesie or I think it's overalls.
I mean, that's what you call it. It's a robe sweater.
But what he has underneath is I find fascinating as well. Oh, he's on the right now. He's on the dance floor. See him? He's not dancing with what's her name? Is it Candace?
No, they got to cut. You can only have so many extras on the payroll.
Well, I also was wondering if the scene in the boat originally was after this, because she was still talking to Lance, remember? And then she smiled at Crockett.
I mean, she was trying to break away because she wouldn't have talked to Lance after that.
Right. So I said, I wonder if originally that came later in the movie, and for whatever reason they bumped it up. There's your move. That's a good move too, right there. Here comes the spectacles, making a spectacle of himself. And I'm not sure what that is, but it makes me laugh.
Fish. That's a fish.
And then he's come hither.
Come hither.
And then
this kind of goes on. They just kept it rolling.
I'm sure Ivan Reitman was laughing behind the camera. So it's I don't know what's going on. I guess they're gonna have a picnic.
This is their 3-year anniversary.
Right, for the day they met, but he just has random food he was pulling out of that bag and
it's a picnic.
And what's the 8x10 headshot behind her? Is it her, or is it maybe an actress?
That's probably a pop star.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Or is it Sally Struthers?
It looks like it. And I also noticed there's a Baskin Robbins cup with a 31 on it.
I that's probably 18 miles away from the camp.
Yeah, and also they probably got zero product placement payment for it. It just happened to be there.
Again, that's beautiful production design. Give me a little bit of this, give me a little bit of that.
Or it was a mistake. A grip was eating it and sat it down and stepped out of frame. Just leave it rolling. I think
But
they
again,
shot this. They shot this in like 29 or 30 days.
yeah,
A lot of movies back then, they were just these low budget movies. They were in and out.
yeah. Usually, I mean, between 2 to 3 weeks was probably the typical for
Yeah,
a
which
low
is
budget,
crazy. But I
and that's
mean,
got to be difficult because you're working around the kids too. This is a working camp.
that's true. But I imagine I don't know how they did it. Maybe they did it at the tail end of camp. So like the first 2 weeks they were there, and the last 2 weeks they weren't there. Hey, you on the skis? Or this comes the scene. Whoa, that's a good one.
This is another. This is the overnight he's packing for.
And you know what I noticed is that's a Willie
Uh,
Nelson concert T-shirt. It has the year on the back. It's like 74 or something. And like you said, most of these are his own clothes, so it's a pretty
yeah,
cool shirt.
and Rudy is the token camp matchmaker.
Yes, he's always pushing for Tripper to reveal his feelings towards Roxanne to him. He wants to confide in him. Well, you like her. You really do like
Well,
her.
this is the family he doesn't have.
Right.
Like you pointed out.
Yeah, we were texting the other day after we refreshed our memories, and we were through that text thread. I said to myself, we need to save this for our voiceover. But yeah, because well, his dad, you just kind of tell the scenes with his dad, they're kind of cold and distant. And then during Parents Weekend, Tripper asks if his parents are coming. He's like, no, my dad couldn't make it. Maybe his mom's out of the picture because he kind of only refers to his dad. Yeah. He's like, my dad couldn't make it. And there was a Tour 77 in the back of the shirt. But so yeah, this is his father figure, and he's trying to get, trying to complete the family. If Tripper and Roxanne can come as a couple, maybe he'll have a new set of parents, or at least camp parents,
Well, at least he has a career as a MC/DJ from here on out.
Yeah, and I love the helmet because the helmet, you don't have to wear it, but you have to wear it. Like it's part of the rules. Oh yeah,
they didn't have it. It's too bad they didn't have a scene of Rudy doing the announcement.
Yeah, that would have been great. It could have been really awkward. So he just left for the overnight, and I thought, again, something you don't think of as a kid. I said, who's watching the kids? Because like Crockett had a bunk, but then later on they show when they get back, like Lance is chasing some kids. I said, oh yeah, Lance didn't go. That guy I called Paul. I don't know if that was his name or not. So there's maybe they like doubled them up. Like, all right, you got to watch these two bunks. So was there a separate overnight for the ones who didn't go? I mean, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter.
But it's just something that pops in your head. Like, well, wait a minute. These kids, they were all assigned a group of kids, and they're going on an overnight while the kids are still there. And he's serenading.
That's where editing comes in, because you realize, look, we have put a scene in to show other CITs coming in to fill in, and
plus, it's only a 90-minute movie. If they want to make it longer, they could have cut back and forth and maybe some hijinks. Like, when you have a substitute teacher, maybe the kids are pranking Lance because he's filling in for Crockett or something. Or
we'll save it for Meatballs, a limited series on Amazon.
Yeah, for a good, I'd watch it. And they did make some sequels, but I guess the less said about those, the better.
Yeah, we don't talk about those around the Reitman household.
I mentioned to you that 2 and 4 weren't even supposed to be sequels. They just at the last minute put Meatballs in the title. I think part 4's original title was Happy Campers, just a random camp movie. No affiliation to the movie, except part 3 allegedly does have an affiliation to the movie, but there's a ghost in the plot.
Yeah. That's Sally Kellerman.
Yeah, she plays like she dies and goes to heaven and comes back to Earth and helps Rudy get laid. I was like, that what? Like, there's no like this movie's based in reality. In part 2, which is again an unofficial sequel, there's an alien.
Yeah, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of a title and an intellectual property. You just sell it, and You got a heist movie set in Chicago. Just call it Meatballs 6.
No, I will say at least the other movies are set at some form of a summer camp. They have some tie into the. Wow, I just realized Fink's got a Swanson dinner underneath his arm, like a frozen. I don't know, he's gonna cook it. Oh yeah, because he's like, my dinner. Someone knocks it over or something when they get spooked here. He's trying
And
to
of course,
cook.
we'll see later on he has like the ultimate snack stash.
Yes, that's true. But he's trying to. I never realized that he's trying to cook a frozen dinner over an open flame. That's interesting. This is a good scene. He's talking about the
This is pure
killing.
Bill Murray right here.
Yeah, you wonder if it was ad libbed in the script, a little bit of both.
This was one of my favorite scenes when I was a kid.
Still got a nice full head of hair on him here in '79.
His inflections.
Yeah, it's good. He's good.
They never found the killer.
It's good stuff. I assume if anyone is watching this with us, you've seen this. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. Go back and watch it with the sound, or maybe you have the sound on while listening to us jibber jabber. But yeah, it's good stuff. Not to be missed. Look at that. That's a great reaction because he mentioned, I don't remember what he said, but oh, she's disgusted. Like the mention of blood or something. They never found him. There it is. Spaz is freaked out. Everyone's freaked out. I think Roxanne's like rolling her eye, but she gets mad and runs. She's getting, come on.
Yeah.
There's the big reveal. Look at that. Wheels had no reaction. Wheels is a tough guy. Oh, Roxanne got spooked.
Yeah, we got a few.
Look at that. Look at that. There. He's worried about his dinner. He's got it wrapped in tinfoil. That's crazy. I wonder if it worked. I'm obsessed with the little details. Oh yeah, and I heard it was true, but it wasn't a. Oh yeah, it was on his foot. How do you have a hook on his foot? That was a good one. See, everyone's got a gal there.
Yeah,
except for Larry, and Spaz ends up holding hands.
Fink did get a laugh though.
Yeah, well, the fact like he's the John Candy.
That's the only time he gets a laugh
from the crew. He gets laughs from me. He called Spaz a meatball earlier during the tennis scene. I thought that was funny.
But he was always cheering Spaz.
All this is dubbed over dialogue, which is kind of interesting, and they dubbed in the splash. But it's a really good edit because then it cuts to them splashing in the water and. It just kind of makes sense and flows, but I guess they got some B-roll here and dubbed over.
Yeah. I think they're shooting day for night too. I think they're shooting
probably
during the day.
But it looks like moonlight. It's been a full moon. It looks nice.
Well, it's expensive to shoot at night, so
right. And there's the hook.
And you got to bring in the big arc lamps.
There they are.
That's totally day. That's day for night right there.
Yeah, because the water is very shiny, but you don't even see They might have dubbed this too because you can't even really see their mouths, so they could be saying anything. And there they go. They consummated their relationship. Rudy will be happy, but Rudy doesn't know about this. In like the next scene when they get back, Rudy's still pestering about his feelings for Roxanne.
Well, in the original Reitman cut, he rises up with a snorkel and mask, and he says, "I knew it."
The Reitman cut. That'd be great if he did that. I doubt there is a director's cut, but if there is one, I'd love to see it. I mean, it's the perfect running time though, so I kind of don't want to mess with the movie.
Oh yeah,
but
this is a 90-minute movie or 93 minutes.
This is the he's like, we're gonna celebrate. I love how excited he is. Oh yeah. He goes, and it was dark. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We always laughed at that reaction. I remember, I think when I was watching my wife, I was laughing really hard, and she really wasn't. I guess I don't know if it's guy humor or
also
humor.
That is a moment we both laughed at a lot.
Yeah, so some of it is like nostalgic. I'm enjoying it via nostalgia.
Well, Fink goes from shocked, like excited to disappointed, and then back to excited again.
Yeah, but he's proud. He's so happy for him. Like, you held her hand, you're on your way. And he's like,
but he's always saying, "Oh, she wants it. She wants it."
Right. I guess it was, confirmation. If she held your hand, then I was right all along. Look at that. Jeez Louise. Diabetes in a box. Well, that might be pork rinds. That's low carb if it is. There's a smoldering fire. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Candace and Crockett.
the
Look,
matching hair.
yeah, and good alliteration with the names. They're probably still
Crockett,
together.
Crockett,
Oh
Crockett.
yeah, he likes her name, his name. He likes her saying his name. Now, what I always wonder, and like I said, there's a lot of camp movies. Did this one kind of set the tropes that we see like later on? Like if I mentioned Poison Ivy earlier, it's could be argued it's a remake. They have like an Olympiad. I
Yeah,
think I haven't watched in a long time. There might be a rival camp. There's a lot of the same tropes, like I
this
think,
is the first summer camp movie with a little bit of sex thrown in.
yeah. Well,
Yes, I would
Poison
definitely.
Ivy's a made-for-TV movie, so there's not
Yeah,
much sex. But yeah, this kind of set the stage for what was come. I guess it's kind of like Halloween is for slasher movies, Meatball is
yeah.
for silly camp movies.
And again, Reitman coming from working with National Lampoon, Harold Ramis, and
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
you mentioned earlier you were talking about the like the Animal House connection. I had read
Mhm.
that they originally wanted Landis to direct this, but he was too busy prepping for I think Blues Brothers and Past. So
Well,
Reitman's right.
Reitman wanted to direct Animal House. That's why he produced Animal House, because he was already on board, because he was ready to direct it, and they uh, ultimately decided he wasn't experienced enough,
Interesting.
and
Well,
so Landis took over.
maybe it's not true, but I had read that they were hoping to get Landis, and maybe simply just because of recognition, we could say from the director of Animal House for marketing purposes.
Oh, of course, yeah, because that was
Um,
a huge hit. So
but I think this was the
he,
launching pad for
he
Reitman's
no, he would have
career.
been Landis would have been too expensive in '79, because this movie was like $1 million. It was
And
like
then it
just
showed
over.
the quick shot of Lance chasing the kid. So I think Lance was the one trying to keep the camp down while they're off on their CIT overnight. There's the planners thing you mentioned,
Yeah.
stuff Mr. Planners, and then
And then some sort of monster lamp in the background.
now there's a theory because they never revealed Tripper's first name that his name is Dennis because it says Dennis on that shirt.
I thought
But
it said Denny's.
regardless, it says Denny or Dennis. I think it says
Yeah,
Dennis.
Denny. It looks like
But
Denny.
but anyway, that's his first name.
Mhm.
It could be just a random, like he could be wearing like an ironic bowling shirt. Like I at one time wore a 7-Eleven shirt, even though I never worked at 7-Eleven. Someone who
Yeah,
used to work at 7-Eleven gave it to me, and I was like, oh, I'm wearing this out in public. This is cool. That's something Bill Murray, like that could be Bill Murray's shirt.
yeah.
And
He was
guess what?
ahead of his time, hipster.
Yeah, like Bill Murray's name isn't Bill Murray. It's funny. I'm going to wear this shirt that says Denny or Dennis on it. So, but that's like a theory that, well, they never revealed Tripper's first name, but it's got to be Dennis because it says it on the shirt. Maybe, maybe not. I always want to say John because it like reminds me of Three's Company. Wasn't it John?
Or
Was it John?
Jack Tripper.
Jack
Yeah.
Tripper. Yeah. So I just want to think John or Jack, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Maybe
I
we'll
mean,
never.
Bill could have been Jack Tripper. I mean,
Yeah.
he could have played that part.
Look at. Oh, here he is. You like her. You like her, don't you? Look at that.
Oh, gee.
You just admit it. You like her. Like I don't know, Rudy. Rudy isn't the coolest guy. It's very, very nice of Tripper to take him under his wing.
Now we're in the third act.
Look at he spits at her. Look at that. You see that?
These guys will do anything.
Like a big, big one. He just spat towards her, and she, just kind of ignores it. There's Morty.
Making America great again.
Who is Morty?
Oh, Camp Mohawk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Look at that. They thought that was so clever. What the guys yell is Camp North Star sucks. Like they thought all day, like, what should we yell? It's the most generic insult. Camp North, and they all like look at each other and give each other fives, like they pulled something off. Look at the matching socks with the shirt. She looks like she's from Kirk Douglas from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Look at this wipe.
And the other thing is, Camp Mohawk, they're terrorists. They've got like with every event they got a slingshot guy in the forest or.
Yeah, they play dirty for sure. Look, he's got Crockett hair too. That's Crockett's little brother, his rich cousin or something. Look, he has to come rescue the kid. Poor kid.
I almost thought that was Lance for a second, diving in to be a hero.
I mean, I'm sure Lance is obviously disliked by their CITs, but he's still one of them. He's still Camp North Star. Look at these kids are awful at this. They're just falling all over the place.
I feel like this scene is the heart of the film.
This montage?
Just the potato sack
race. Oh, that one scene. I'm sure they turned the kids like in the white shirts, like you fall down, the other kids win. This is Vice's to jump very high or something like that.
Jump really, really high.
I wonder if Crockett from Miami Vice, I wonder if the name was derived from this.
Yeah, the Michael Mann cut of this film would be a delight to see.
With what's his name? Hans Zimmer doing the soundtrack. That was not too good, Crockett. I love these wipes.
Yeah,
the transitions.
I'm waiting for like a land speeder to come across.
Look at that. Look at Michael Keaton as the corner man. Now, this reminds me of Meatballs 2. There was a big plot involving a boxing scene in Meatballs 2. But again, Meatballs 2 was not originally a Meatballs movie. It was at the last minute. I read that the director of Meatballs 2 didn't even realize it was going to be Meatballs 2. It had no intention to be Meatballs 2. Now, I actually, nostalgic, I have nostalgic, somewhat, I wouldn't say love, but like for that movie. Because I just remember watching on HBO, if it was on, you'd watch it, one of those kind of movies.
What's his name from that? What was his name from SOB? Richard.
Oh, Mulligan.
Yeah.
He was he was the Morty of that movie, I think. Now this girl gets kneed in the groin and reacts like a man would. She really got something happened there. Well, they say her leg's broken.
Yeah, so Camp Mohawk, man. Terrorists.
The knee to the thigh or the fall to the ground, somehow she broke her leg, and she's on crutches the rest of the movie. And I think she was supposed to do the run. That's where we get Rudy to step up. Here's Morty's big rally.
Have Morty do the run.
There's the negative Nelly. The guy's always sour. Look at he's wearing a Shriner's hat.
And right away he goes to the speech.
Yeah.
And this is pure Bill Murray too.
Yep. Still got his bowling shirt on. Oh, we might have missed it, but that's not a big deal. Just I commented earlier about one of the refs' shorts was extremely short. I just remember it really stood out when I watched this the other night. I was like, holy smokes, something's gonna pop out. It was like so uncomfortably short. Look at that reaction from Morty. Huh? That guy. Here comes the just doesn't matter.
And this has got to be something that Bill had contributed, I would imagine.
It's great though, and everyone's even Morty is realizing how great it is. And what's funny is he
always had a tendency to add to the script.
Oh, sure. He's an ad-lib monster, I'm sure.
Like he actually would work on the screenplay, I think, a lot of times. Like just.
Yeah, well, he seems to really care when he's in something. He wants it to be good. If it's not good, he's disappointed. Like to this day, I think he's disappointed in Ghostbusters 2. That's why he's been so reluctant to do a third. He cares about his product, which is nice. And
he never really worked that. He was always a little careful with the movies he took on.
Yeah.
He didn't really overexpose himself. He kept himself a little precious in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, he could have taken payday after payday and, be a quote unquote sellout, but he did have some movies that, were, he had Where the Buffalo Roam and The Razor's Edge, but I think he went into
those were interesting movies though,
Oh, definitely. And I think he like Razor's look at Lance. He doesn't care for this. He is
Spaz
loves it. But yeah, but Murray, I think he goes into every movie with best intentions for it to
Yeah.
be a good movie, where he wouldn't do it.
And of course, the great Meatballs title track.
The girl had a lot of sunblock on. She's the same one that had the head to toe nightgown on. She's very careful.
Always like the congas in this tune.
Yeah.
Boodaloo, pop,
This is
boodaloo,
Rick Dees
pop.
as well, right?
Yep. I mean, a catchy tune.
What's going on here? Oh, they're gonna give them a taste of their own medicine. Now
Yeah,
they're gonna now see the first montage, like, if we didn't establish that Mohawks were cheaters, they're like, well, we're just, leveling the playing field here. They're gonna cheat, we're gonna cheat.
Yeah,
So,
but they don't cause bodily injury like Mohawk terrorists do.
yeah, like the girl right there with the cast. Now it's her lower leg. She got kneed in the thigh. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Just a movie, Duke. Let it go. Look at that. They're happy. Look at that. Good celebration. So, but they do the same. I think they use a slingshot later. They use some of their exact same tactics. Oh, we got softball. There's Bill rocking the Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, she's in. I wonder what happened to her. She might have went on to be a star for all we know.
Everywhere I go, it's Meatballs Gossip Girl. Meatballs Gossip Girl.
She's probably what, like 60 now, 55 or something. Time flies. Gosh, even the umpires in shorts, And this is interesting. Oh yeah, the girl hitting the girl with big boobs, and then it gets caught and lost in her shirt. It gets lost in her cleavage. This is a good look. That's a good one too, right there.
Yep. To
the fist pump,
the rollicking fists.
This is an interesting scene. This is they're wrestling, and but they're not doing Olympic style. They kind of do like a pro wrestling style. It's like
they start with traditional.
Right, like there's the stance, and then but he's pinned. The ref should have counted that. It should have been over there. Ref was out of position, I guess.
He was going for the 2 count, so he
well, in Olympic style wrestling, it's just a 1 count, but in this, it's a 3 count. That's a pretty good kick right there.
It was.
And then over exaggerated leap with a miss. Now he's got his shoulder up there, so they should take some like real wrestling commentary and dub this back in for.
That was a good flip.
It was a good flip. Wills is athletic, but he's showboating too much. But look at this, like a judo throw, and that was enough. That was enough to knock the guy. Look at slow count too. 3. You got it. That guy had all day to kick out, but he didn't.
Yeah, that was Wheels' moment.
See, they're kind of coupling up now. She's gonna,
well, she's just being sweet, She's kind of.
But they held hands, Brian. He's on his way.
What? You held her hand?
that's not just. Look at, she just kissed him. See,
well, that's a good luck kiss.
It is, but there's a blossoming romance. I'm telling you, this is Spaz's kind of, story arc as well. Look at that guy with the mustache.
What? You were in the woods and you didn't do anything?
This is the scene. The referee in the background. Look at those shorts.
he went for it.
Something is about to slip out and no longer make this a PG movie. It may be uncomfortable. Maybe just because I'm watching on a bigger screen than I'm used to. At the drive-in, it must have been really. Anyway, this would be difficult to do, I think.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I remember doing like a something like this, but with eggs, like and a spoon.
Yeah, field day.
Yeah, like that would be the traditional here. Oh yeah. Okay, they don't use a slingshot. They sabotage the slingshot.
Yeah.
And he hits the other guy. So that was a good move. She's a Yankees fan.
And that was another famous movie. A moment. Everyone saying Spaz's name.
Yeah, Spaz. And they do it immediately as he makes the slow walk to start it. It's immediate and it grows. Look how happy he is for himself. This is a classic scene. Like, when I used to think of this movie, I'd think of this part for some reason. Unfortunately, this actor is no longer with us, I learned. That made me sad.
Yeah. Too young, 51.
Yeah, way too young. Way too young. And he was, I looked up, he was in his other big movie was My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, right. Another Canadian production.
Yeah, there you go.
No, just those over here.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
a good,
trying to
because he's
listen.
listening to it. Look at this big entrance. This guy gets a VIP treatment. He gets a driver.
This is like Big Boss Man or someone coming.
Yeah, I mean he's a big dude,
Yeah.
definitely a big dude. But I think in today's standards, they would have been even bigger. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
they would have had a longer. I don't know. They probably just cast the first big guy they
More of like an
see.
Andre the Giant kind
Yeah,
of.
like a to really, or like I think it's Stand By Me. Like the pie eating guys were huge in that
Mhm.
scene. But he's kind of bigger than Larry. Look at that. Larry's got some good hair. I noticed one thing. Shouldn't even mention it, but like
Tripper really like.
Morty's talking, and then there's a quick shot of his mouth's not moving, but you still hear him talking. Yeah,
Tripper
he's
just works him like a car wash.
he's his corner man. Well, he's doing something to help them shimmy on down. Now, is it fair though? Because the other guy who's known as the Stomach, that's the character's name. And you know, when I was younger and watching this, and he's like, this is the year, you know, the Fink beats the stomach, and he says, "You beat the stomach." I didn't know if he meant his own stomach, like his own stomach has failed him in the past.
Yeah.
This is the year you beat the stomach. But no, that is the Mohawk guy's nickname is the Stomach.
And I think it's a twofold meaning too. It's
It
like
is, but in the
metaphor.
credits, they list that guy as Stomach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look at he's choking him out when he's trying to eat. This scene's kind of gross. It makes you not want to eat a hot dog anytime soon. There's the whistle, and he's got a good amount left. And look at that. Only thing left are the two in his hand. He beat the stomach, and he shows us his sweaty pits.
And then he
Burp and done. Beat the stomach, Larry.
another great white.
And what's funny is like my wife pointed out that she noticed that it was 2020 to 2010 or 220 to 210. Like it was they were only in the last race was worth 40 points. It was just enough to put him in the lead. I was like, I never
Yeah.
even paid attention to that or learned that. In the previous
You know what?
yeah.
This film has something for everybody to discover.
Yeah. There's Negative Nelly. Here's your man. I noticed in a wider shot earlier, there was a guy I'd never seen before without the movie. He had like long hair pulled in a ponytail. Just some random guy who was never in any of the other scenes. I'll see if they show him again. Getting a lot of close-up coverage here. A lot of pep talks from Bill Murray in this movie, but he's so good at them.
That's exactly why they.
He's right there. He was in between Candace and Crockett. He had like long hair and a mustache. He looked like a grip, and maybe he was. Like, we need some more bodies in this scene. Go sit down.
And Bill Murray just said, "Get a grip."
There he is
And they
on
got
the
a
right.
grip.
It's so quick. I don't know if you see him. It's not a big deal. I just never noticed before. There he's clapping. It's like, who is that guy? And on the left, the guy in the blue shirt. Who's that guy? Now he's on the right, standing up. Just random extras.
Yeah, you move them. You're doing a different angle, and then
he says, "Let's go get laid before the big race," or something. No, he did not mean that literally. This was another pep talk scene.
But I like that Rudy, just kind of said, almost like he just like, yeah, let's go. with this an expression.
And you're Rudy Rabbit, and he's like, "Now who are you?" Rudy Gerner. Like he never like gets anything. It's all over his head. It's funny. It's like funny without trying to be funny. It's just very real. Like his reactions are real. Probably because it was an ad-lib scene, just letting the cameras roll, and they said react naturally.
And apparently they were a good team.
You know what I noticed here? Something else I read. He looks younger here because on those scenes that they filmed to add-ins, he was older. Mm-hmm. And at one point he showed up and he had to shave his upper lip. He had some fuzz growing in. And it said, assuming everything you read is true, it said that that's the first time Chris Makepeace shaved was on a reshoot for Meatballs because he had to. Wow. He's like, you didn't have a mustache earlier in the scene. You rascally
and then the next year he showed up in My Bodyguard, I guess.
Yeah, I remember watching that on HBO. That's an interesting movie with Matt Dillon with the turd in the cup. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
They had a turd in a cup and they're harassing him in the bathroom. I haven't watched that in a long time, but that scene sticks out in my mind. So I remember watching this with my wife the other night, and she, at this point, she's kind of getting into it, because this is like the Rocky moment, like the final battle, because
Hmm.
this, they're gonna the winner of this race wins the entire field day thing, and then he's trailing the whole time. He falls at some point. I don't want
Hmm.
to get ahead of myself, but
But he's following Tripper's
right, save your
spoken
energy, and then
strategy.
right, exactly. But
In this, he's going to break.
right.
Once he goes over, you be a rabbit, you know,
But you
and
had to make it realistic because that guy is
yeah,
so much, longer legs. And then of course, you had to make it a photo finish because when he falls, it lets that guy catch back up.
right.
So yeah, it's this right here reminds me of Suburban Depravity, the movie you made years
That
ago.
yeah, that shot right
You're
there.
running in the woods, crazy handheld stuff. The Super 8 movie available on YouTube. Maybe I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah,
And
it'll make a great double feature.
it's much shorter than this, so it won't eat up your whole evening. So I'm waiting for, I don't know, whenever he falls. Here it comes. Right there. My wife said, "Oh no." She said it out
He
loud.
does that. I always remember this pause. That guy
Yeah.
doing that
And
smile.
it's dumb because he could have taken the lead right there. But anyway, when my wife said, "Oh no," I was like, wow, she's really getting into this. She's concerned about Rudy, like she's watching a real event when someone fell. It was good. I'm sure like a
That's another
filmmaker.
reason why in the editing room they stuck with the root. That is the root of the story is Rudy.
Yeah, they had. I think it was a good call to add some scenes because like this
Hmm.
is the climax of the movie, so you want to. The more connected you feel to this character, the more likely you're going to cheer him. So they
Yeah.
make him like kind of the second lead of the film was a good idea.
I mean, this
This
movie
guy's
is pretty sweet. Like it's a good-hearted movie.
look at the slow motion finish, and you're unsure, but he has the tape in his hand. Rudy did it. I don't think they planned on doing it slow mo. I think it was so close they had to do it in slow mo just so you could see better who won. Look at that, and they made a movie called Rudy. In the care, I mean, that was
Yeah,
based on a true story, but that's an underdog story. And I had never seen the whole film, but I think there's a scene where they pick Rudy up like that. I think
they
it's on
almost called it Meatballs 7.
and it was supposed to be the same Rudy. He goes to Notre Dame and becomes a football player.
He's already lost his virginity.
Oh, geez. Oh, so yeah. So it's after three. Three is when I assume he. I saw three, but I have
There's
very
a Humpty
little memory of it.
Dumpty.
Yeah, that thing is so awkward, and it's like Humpty Dumpty with a Pee Wee Herman
But
tie
you
on.
see, with when they do the close-ups, the production design, they always throw in something in the background.
It's good.
Yes. Just it doesn't have to be anything logical or sensible.
And what's the nice touch here is you hear the cat, his roommates cheer. Hey, it's
Yeah,
Gerner! Like he's one of they accept him now. He's the hero. Like he's cool with them now.
it's a good-hearted film.
And Murray smiles and walks away because he knows like my work is done here. Rudy's now I don't have to be his only friend at the camp. Of course, the camp's winding down, but that's the middle, beginning, end of the story. Rudy shows up, the short,
Yep.
depressed kid we ordered, which is great because it tells you there's probably one every year. There's a new kid
Yeah.
every year, and he's depressed, and Tripper has to make sure he has a nice summer, which he did. Look at he's got like 2 or 3 whistles around his neck when he does.
And another popular tune
Oh, the
that shared
CIT
around.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. I think I was singing along to it the other night when we were watching it. I mean, it's just the same line over and over again, but it speeds up. And then he said, "Here we go," and they start clapping. It's great.
I mean, when I think about this is one film that I can practically remember every moment of.
And to me, it never gets old.
Mhm.
In some movies, I actually find movies I really like. I don't like to overwatch because it loses some of the pleasure, for lack of a better word. Like
Yeah,
you know, like Jaws. I've seen tons of times, but sometimes it's like I'm not going to watch that one this summer. It still feels too,
yeah,
like you almost want to forget a few moments. You know, you still want to be startled when that like dead body shows up underwater, or
Yes.
you know, like it's a great movie and you can watch it over and over again, but you don't want to get sick of it. But this is just a movie, I guess, because it's nothing serious to it. I don't ever seem to get sick of it. Now, granted, when I watched it recently, it had been a long time,
Mhm.
but I certainly remembered it as the movie went along. Like, you know, there's something I watched recently, like I hadn't watched in, you know, since the early 90s when it first came out. And I was like, I don't remember any of this because I
Yeah.
hadn't watched it, you
Yeah.
know.
You remember, like, basic moments or the big moments, but this one, every time I rewatch it, I do realize that I remember every single nuance, almost every shot, every reaction. It's weird.
But in most of them you still laugh at, like
Yeah.
Spaz, yeah, you know, and it was dark, yeah. Like those little things. And this song is fun. But at the same time, for example, right here, right now, while we've been watching it, there's things I've never noticed before I've picked up on. Like little
Yeah.
stuff in the background and
Yeah, as a kid, yeah, I didn't pick up on the production, design moments
well,
like I
yeah.
am now.
And
Um,
part of it is it's just there, you don't really notice it, but also when you're watching a movie for the 20th time, you know, your eyes wander around, like you take it in more, you know, you're like,
but even as a kid, the people moments were impressed upon my brain.
yeah. Like, well, like we kept saying, it's great casting.
Hmm.
And we kind of talked over the great song CIT, so pity us, etc., etc. Now this is a big moment. He asks her to move in with him. That's kind of serious leap. And he's like, what, have you never lived with anyone before? And she's like, no, have you? And he pauses like, no. So it's a big moment for both of them. Have you? There it is.
Yeah.
There's the pause. He says pets, room or something like that, dogs, but never with a
Yes.
person. And then what happens later on is she leaves him and he gets depressed and joins the army.
Right.
It could be a sequel. They could have just the character name and you know
Yeah.
the
I mean,
character.
that could have been Meatballs too.
Maybe that was the original plan. Actually, it was supposed to be a Cheech and Chong movie, but that's for another discussion. Oh, here's the big reveal, the final gag. Bye, Morty. Poor
See you
guy.
next summer.
It's funny, but I still feel sorry for him because you just put yourself in his shoes. You're like, oh man,
Mhm.
that would suck. See these two. Something's happening, Brian. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. Look at
Yeah.
this. I
You're
mean,
right.
that's a friendly goodbye kiss, but Fink loved that. The cute blonde gave him a
Well, he,
kiss.
he he earned it.
Look at these two kids like headbutting each other. Look at that. It's like their own little hidden handshake. I love it.
You
Another
got you
little
got hair like me.
a little detail. This kid, no, this kid's funny. He's like his reaction. He's like, I think I'm gonna stay here. I like it. And he's like, oh, because he's like,
Bad.
my dad's buying his own camp. He's like, I'm gonna stay here. He's like, oh, he's so
But the
like
little, I guess the
dejected.
little frog boy, I guess, would be joining him at the other camp.
Well, I was gonna bring that up. Whatever happened to the frog? We don't know.
Yeah,
I
we
mean, yeah,
we just know that he's at rest.
yes. I wonder if he just like tucked it away somewhere and hoped the kid never brought it up again. Or maybe there
And then,
was an
then, and
additional
then it showed
scene.
up in Poltergeist.
Oh wow. Or maybe in the real Meatballs too, if they made an actual direct sequel, they would be haunted by the ghost of the frog. Or maybe the hook murderer was a real guy and he shows up.
Because they actually buried that frog in Poltergeist.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. There it is. It's interesting. The first thing we get is the songs listed in the credits. I mean, they're great songs. I wish I had the soundtrack. That was kind of a inside joke between you, me, and our friend Tony. He's like, "Well, Duke,
What
Duke
you
probably has
playing, Duke? The Meatball soundtrack?
right." Because I think I owned Planet of the Apes soundtrack for the original movie, and like that was just like, who owns that? Well, apparently Duke does, and so him's like, well, he probably has the Meatball soundtrack, and I would say, wow, I wish that'd be awesome to have. There it is,
What's
AL. See, that's her name,
Yeah,
AL.
it was actually on released by RSO Records,
Yeah,
the
it's
Bee
out there
Gees.
somewhere. I gotta find it on. Yeah, I associate that with the Bee Gees, and I think the Grease album, the
Yeah,
Grease soundtrack. Who's Rhino? Oh, he was probably a Mohawk guy. Rhino, horse. Those are probably Mohawk people, I'm guessing. There's the
yeah.
stomach. Now, I will say, because it's always fun to get a fresh take. Someone's ever seen it. My wife was laughing at Morty constantly falling in the lake here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how many times he does it. And it was probably Canada. It's probably freezing cold water. They probably shot this late summer. It's
Well, the camera operator Burt Dunk later became his own a cinematographer in his own right.
Of course he does. And there's Bryan with his wonderful tidbits. Well, that's wrapping it up. I don't know if anyone bothered to listen to this whole thing. I hope it was somewhat entertaining. If you got any other trivia we didn't mention, you want to mention in the comments, or like I said, Meatball Memories, maybe you're cool like Bryan and saw it in the drive-in, because I don't think I ever knew that. If you did tell me and I forgot it, but that's awesome.
Well, I thought you would remember because of the Rocky 3 connection, being that double feature.
You may have told me, but it could have been back in 1991 or something like that, and it's skipped my mind. But the Halliburton films, because it was filmed in Halliburton. Here it is, right there, Halliburton, Ontario, Canada. Because I first saw that the other day, I was like, "Why was it called that of all things?" Oh, it's named after the town it was shot in. That makes sense.
Not the company,
right? And I think I saw a special thanks to like Adidas or something. Maybe they supplied those short shorts for them.
There you go.
Something like that. A Canadian movie. I don't think people realize that. They probably associate this with a Hollywood production, but it's actually a Canadian production. And I read a little blurb that at the time it broke some Canadian box office records, I guess, for an original.
It made like $40 million or something. I mean, it made a lot of money
in just Canada.
Yeah, I mean, it was like big box office.
Oh, and what'd you say earlier? It was a $1 million budget.
Oh yeah, it was just over $1 million. I think it was 1.2 million.
Now on my screen, did it go back to the close-up of the poster for you when the movie ended?
No, I just went to my home HBOmax.
Okay. Well, mine went back to the main. It's a zoomed-in picture of the poster, like that drawing, and there's Roxanne's the one tugging his T-shirt is in her mouth. The girl, I don't remember her name. I've referred to her as the conservative girl. She's kind of gazing at it like he's like a sex symbol. They're all like, all the girls are oogling him. Yeah. And I think the one girl's supposed to be Candace, doesn't look anything like Candace, but the rest of them do resemble who they have. Yeah. Although Roxanne kind of looks like herself. She kind of looks like a cross between like Henry Winkler and Joyce DeWitt, maybe.
That's a good combo.
I guess it's just interesting look, and she's like slouched over. I guess she's being herself. But anyway, that was fun. I guess we should wrap this up, because if people have listened to us to an hour and a half, they probably don't care to listen to us any further. But
they might invite us over for dinner.
Yeah, or send us a Zoom link and we can watch a movie together like this. But I don't know, this was fun. Maybe we'll do it again. Maybe not. I'm going to try to get this out ASAP, since it is time to kick off the summer. And this is kind of our summer tradition. Right. So I guess I'll stop the recording. Any final thoughts from you, Bryan?
I've been ready for the summer ever since I first viewed this film. And I will continue to be ready for the summer.
Summer of '82. Probably same for me. 82, 83. Wait, 82. You know what?
Was it 83? Wasn't it 83 for Rocky 3? I think it was.
Embarrassed to say, I'm not sure. I'm gonna cheat and look it up, because it's gonna bother me.
Because Rocky 4 was 84.
No, Rocky 4 was 85. I definitely
that was holiday time, right?
Yeah. Rocky 3 was 82.
Okay, so it was 82 then.
It was. The official release date, according to IMDb, is May, Memorial Day weekend. It used to be the big weekend for movies.
I also remember Star Trek 2 was out around that time.
Yeah, that was summer of '82, I think, as well.
Yep.
Another one I did not see in the theater. I have since. I saw a rescreening of it, so that was cool, but not.
I saw the drive-in. That was another drive-in.
Yeah, drive-ins. I saw maybe the same summer. I saw Staying Alive at the drive-in. That's
a good one.
Well, I
love that opening.
Or it could have been two different visits.
I saw it a million times on HBO, though, Meatballs. I mean, I just watched it. Yeah. The first movie I saw on Beta was First Blood.
A lot of Stallone references today. We need to do a Stallone watch along. Maybe something random and obscure like Paradise
Lord.
Alley or Lords of Flatbush, or I don't know.
A Fist. We could do Fist. That's a crowd favorite. Everyone wants to do a watch along of Fist.
I think I've watched it once, and it's basically like who's he supposed to be? Like
Like Norma Ray or something.
Jimmy Hoffa. He's supposed to be like a fictionalized Jimmy Hoffa. Anyway, we're getting off the subject. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. Thanks for watching. If you're still watching, that's it. Enjoy your summer, everybody.
Be kind to yourself and others, and then kind to yourself again.
And if I could quote Blazing Saddles, ditto.